Hello everyone, Dovalt here, and welcome back to the channel with another rapid fire review. Now real quick, I would like to apologize for not uploading as often as I would like. Took me a while to get some new figures in and then maintaining the main channel. Things have been a little slow, but we have a slew of small reviews coming up soon, back to back. Anyway, today we are looking at the Transformers Age of the Primes 13 Alpha Trion. And this is a nice little figure, a completely new mold unlike the previous versions we've gotten, and yeah, some pretty nice detailing and a slew of accessories for something of this price point. Now he is a Voyager class, and also I'm gonna try and do this in one take, this whole video. I'm gonna try. Anyway, before we look at him, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So you get your standard Age of the Primes packaging with a quick look at his vehicle mode. Of course, the Primes on the side as always. Another picture of him being a huge nerd reading, what's that? A book? Paper pages? Psh, just kidding. And then we have our obligatory product shots of him doing nerd stuff, because everyone knows Alpha Trion is the nerd of the Primes. Well, I guess you could say that about McAdams, but he's an alcoholic. Anyway. So, here we have him with all of his goodies equipped onto him. And for a quick size comparison before we get into his accessories, here he is with a deluxe class right next to him here. So, he's about 1.5 inches taller. Here he is with another Voyager in Prima Prime. And his little sister, Solus. And yeah, he's a pretty decent size. Standard Voyager. Now, as for accessories, you get... I'm gonna have to take them off of him before we get to articulation anyway, so... You get his, I actually don't know what this artifact is called, but this little Book of the Primes. Cool little thing with some nice detailing. Could use a little more paint and detail on the pages, but not bad at all. It's got 4 pages, 2 of which are blank, but you get the, little Cybertronian script on there, and it just has a standard 5mm peg. Then you have his quill, which lore-wise confuses me, because the only person who has feathers in the 13 Primes is kind of alive. So did he take this from his brother? I don't know. Also, do they even use ink? Then he gets his shield, which could also be part of his cape if you wanted it to. This thing has its own articulation opposing for transformation. Boom. And then you get 2 little ink pots that can plug into his shoulders. Tiny little things, but just standard little 5mm pegs. And they can peg into any 5mm port, but they do nicely right there on the shoulders. Anyway, as for articulation... Anyway, let's take a look at the details before we do articulation. Alright, so we have nice Alpha Trion-y head sculpt, kind of as you'd expect. Some nice little detailing there on the chest with the purple and silver with the big prominent Autobot logo. Supposedly this can come out, but I've never been able to get my fingers in there. Nice touches of purple and silver as well, with little hints of that crimson red throughout. And then the backpack cleans up kind of nicely, looks kind of like a cloak, so not bad. Nice metallic transparent red there, looks really nice. Anyway, as for articulation, he can put his arm out all the way out. The shoulder pads are articulated as well. He can do a full 360 rotation with a full 360 bicep swivel. A slightly past 90 on that, and the wrist can go in due to transformation. As for the leg, he can go out that far, forward that far as the hip skirts move out of the way. He can go back very far if you move the backpack all the way back. And he can go slightly past 90 there, as well as a full thigh rotation. He does have an ankle pivot. Toe tilt, although it's kind of locks in place for the transformation, so it's a little tough. And of course, the heel, which kind of locks into place. So not really meant for posing. But yeah, so pretty standard articulation. You can get him some interesting poses. Although considering he's spending his time writing in a book, don't really know why he needed to do action poses unless he wants to write very dramatically. Anyway, he's gotta spread his prophecies. All right, now I'm gonna try and do this transformation in one take now, because we are gonna go ahead and get to transformation. So, first I recommend go ahead and just straightening out the arms and folding in the hand. Sorry, that was off camera. So straighten out the arms and just fold up the hand, and we'll just not mess with the rest of that for now. Then you're gonna take the toes and fully close them up on both sides. Boom. And then you're straightening out the legs so that they're pointing in, and you can obviously tell what we're doing here. We're gonna peg them together all the way down the middle. Gonna fold this up, and what this is gonna do is you're gonna open this up, you're gonna let this pass through, fold back the head, and put that over, and that's gonna cover up the head there. Then you're gonna take the cockpit, close it back up, take these pieces here, and these are going to rotate around to where they're facing forward like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Now for the easiest bit, all you're gonna do is you're gonna rotate the waist 180, and then this is all gonna straighten and compress up like this at that chest hinge there, so the Autobot symbol is on the bottom. Then you're gonna take the kneecaps. Whoops, that's not how that was supposed to go. You should probably do this first, actually. You're gonna slide out the kneecap. It's kind of a tight fit, getting it out of there. But the kneecap slides out like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Now I can go ahead and peg those legs back together. That required a little bit too much force, so I ended up popping it out. And then once you get that up, all you're going to do is bring down the top half so that it slides over right in front of those kneecaps. And then everything should peg nice together. Straighten the arms so that they're pointed like this, and push them down, and then there's some locking points in various places here. Just got to make sure everything's lined up. You have a tab slot connection here and here. Bring that in, and then the little wrist hole should pop right into that little slot there. Do the same thing on the other side. And boom, there we have him almost done. Then we can go ahead and bring in those ink pots and put them back into his shoulder holes. Then, as for the book, this is a nice little bit of storage. You're going to take the side with the 5mm port and put it down like this, and then this tab here on the legs is going to go into the tab hole on the book. You get some very nice, clean storage on the bottom there. Now, as for the shield, what you're going to do is you're going to unfold it like you're unfolding some wings. Go ahead and turn the port so it's facing down. And it's going to, as you can see, tab in with this port and this slot into this hole and this tab. You're going to give that a nice firm press in. Then, this part's a little tricky. You want this slot on the shield to go into the tab on the bottom of the arm, but then you're going to have this little ridge that's got to slide into the ridge on the shoulder. So it requires a little bit of flexing to get that perfectly lined up, but once you do, it'll snap into place. Same thing on the other side. Oh, I dropped the book. I'll fix that in a second. And then you're going to kind of bend it to where it fits into that slot there. And there you go. Let me grab that book and put it back on it. Sorry if you guys just got a camera full of hair, I apologize. And then lastly, as for the quill, this one actually tabs in on the wing, underside of his wing here. See a little tab there and the little slot on the pen on both sides. You're going to press that in, and then the back of the feather should pass through a little notch on the wing. And there you have him, all ready to go in his cool little spaceship mode. Very neat, nicely detailed. Robot kind of disappears on this side. Of course, on this side. Actually, no, with everything stored, he cleans up super nice. You can't really tell where his everything except his arms are. Yeah, this is a nice little vehicle. It's pretty cool. And a very simple, fun transformation. Now, for some quick size comparisons for vehicle mode, let's get 2 more of his brothers out here. Of course, we have Leader Class Megatronus to see how he scales up. And then, lastly, don't mind his head sticking out. I can't get the chest open on my copy. We have the little deluxe class Alchemist Prime. And yeah, a pretty neat little figure. Super fun to transform back and forth, and nicely detailed, nice new take on the figure that fits in with all his brethren. And I'm curious what they do when they get around to the Vector Prime version for Age of the Primes. I hope they don't do the exact same mold again. But yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with him, and if they do any Cybertron or Energon references with his design. But yeah, that has been our review of the Transformers Age of the Primes Alpha Trion. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this and want to pick up this figure, you can find him pretty much at any retailers. But if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, share the video, hit the bell notification icon to know when I upload new reviews, because we have some new stuff coming out soon. And I am so glad I did this in one take. I am short of breath, guys. But thank you so much. If you want to support me, check out my main gaming channel. It would mean a lot if you check it out there as well. And keep in tune for more reviews. The next one we have coming up is from Kang Toys, with their take on one of the Insecticons. And it's amazing. I hope you enjoy that review when it comes out, and stay tuned. I'll see you guys in the next review. Dovault out.